everyone, welcome to this week's vlog. It is a cozy, somewhat chaotic decorate with me for fall, which is mostly Halloween plus a little bit of fall in my house. We'll end the video with my fall TBR. I got a bunch of books for my birthday at Barnes & Noble and I'm really excited to get started on them. So if you're interested in seeing what I'm reading this fall, stick around to the end. But for now, let's focus on decorating my very old 1950s townhouse for the season, starting off in the living room. These videos on YouTube really do a great job of setting the mood, and there's a lot of options out there, but oftentimes the music doesn't match the vibe that I'm seeking. So I'll mute it and then I'll put a playlist. I have a very large collection of leaf garlands that I like to put around the house every year. It's one of my favorite things to pull out. It makes me feel immediately like I live in a Hallmark movie. I actually got the inspiration for having as many leaf garlands from a Hallmark movie that I was watching. They had it at every room. I just felt like it was such a vibe, and so I tried to mimic it one year in another house, and it's been okay in this house. It doesn't have the same feel. I have been struggling with decorating this particular house. It was made in the 1950s and it definitely was not made for modern 2025 living. So our space is a little awkward and there aren't a lot of shelf or places to decorate. And there's not a lot of shelf space, not a lot of places to decorate. So I have been really creative. I've been very creative with what I have and trying to put it in places that make sense. This year, I honestly feel like the branchy trees have been the best addition to my collection and have made every space a little bit more dynamic, gave a little bit more depth to a lot of the spaces that I was decorating without it being too much. So I'm happy that I included them in the design this year, and I'm also really happy that a lot of the pumpkins that I had on the floor last year are not going to be elevated onto shelves this year. It turned out really well, and I think it's going to be a better use of space. There's just something so magical about the first day of decorating. The feeling of taking out my friends from the box, my sparkly branches and my vibrant jack-o'-lanterns, my boo sign, and just coming up with a design. I get really excited for September to roll around every year because I get to spend a little bit of time in a feeling that almost is nostalgic. I remember when I was a kid when my mom would take out the Halloween decorations in September around my birthday, and there were always like particular decorations that I would look forward to either putting up with my mom or just holding while she was decorating. We had these window clings in the 90s that my mom would put up on our living room window, and I remember being so excited every year to help organize in what pattern we would put them on. There were spider webs and witches on broomsticks and jack-o'-lantern faces and ghosts, and it was one of my favorite things, and I think that's where I get my love of decorating, is from those moments with my mom and just the anticipation of the season. My absolute favorite part of decorating my living room is always the fireplace. I tried a new way to decorate this year. I wanted to use my green bat lights on top of the very bright orange design that I normally have around the fireplace. And at first I liked it, but the longer it was up, I realized how harsh it was to look at. And because our fireplace is under our TV, anything that we watch, our eyes would just be so tired by the end of it. So I decided to move them. I still haven't found a place just yet that I think that they suit, but they'll still get used somewhere in the house later on. But for now, that was the kind of the direction I was going. I also this year got these really adorable terracotta pumpkins, these jack-o'-lanterns that are on both sides of the fireplace. and I think that they are adding the right amount of depth. I never thought that I would get a black jack-o'-lantern, but it really does add the right amount of depth behind the orange jack-o'-lanterns that I put up. So highly recommend. I got them at Target. They were at the dollar spot. I think they were $5 each. I think they're worth it. And they do glow on their own. They're like battery operated, so I recommend it. So in the candle area on this shelf, Ethan just got me this shelf, so I'm still kind of figuring out how to decorate it. And I had a bunch of candles that I kind of was switching out throughout the weeks, and I couldn't find a good way to decorate them there. I struggled, as you can see, trying to figure out the right way to make it look somewhat decorated but also still be somewhat utilitarian. And eventually I changed my mind and I completely redid. Like I said, I changed my mind and I decided to move the candles into another place that was kind of more utilitarian anyway, and kept the space around the candle warmer more of a decorated space, and it looked so much cleaner when I was done with it. I was very happy I made that choice. I now decided I was going to have the top tier with my ghost pictures. I was going to put my striped pumpkins and my witch's feet that I have decorated years ago up there. I still think I'm going to move those ghost pictures lower, or possibly move one into the kitchen later on in the season, but for right now they're up there. They look okay. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not mad at it. This space over by our, what is this called? The thing. The music player. The record player. The space over by the record player, I already had designed before I did it. I knew I wanted to have our vintage looking skull telephone, and I wanted the boo sign to be over there. I didn't know that I was going to be decorating it with my favorite jack-o'-lantern. I'm kind of thinking I might move that later on because it's behind our TV set normally and I can't see it all the time. It's really cute, but that jack-o'-lantern reminds me of the jack-o'-lantern from the Disney's Trick or Treat cartoon with the witch that turns like the jack-o'-lantern. Like, it comes alive and starts singing. That's what it looks like to me. It's my favorite jack-o'-lantern, and I kind of want to have him more in the main area. So I'll figure that out if I'll move him later on or not.
That kept me alive. You were hello, and I was goodbye. An ember that flickered, that faded away. You were the summer, I was that same old shit in me.
I had to do a little bit of decluttering from our side table where we just kind of been using as a catch-all when we come in and out of the house. And I just tidied that up a little bit, used a Mrs. Myers to get some cat hair off because Freya loves to jump on there. And then I decorated it with some of my prettier items. I think they're prettier. I love the Cracker Barrel see-through coffin with the sassy skeleton in there. And I wanted him to be a little bit more prominent. I normally would have put him on our coffee table, but we don't have a coffee table right now. With Bo, there's a lot of space that has to be utilized for his stuff, and we just don't have that big of a living room. Like I said, it was not built for modern life. So that's downstairs. We don't have a coffee table right now. Eventually we will get another one because I do like decorating coffee tables during the seasons. And yeah, I kind of miss it. But for right now, we're going to use a side table for all of my coffee table decor. And I think it turned out really nice.
Take me to the ruins, aquifers and springs, baby ferns uncurling, every living thing. Be to me a mother, both hands on the wheel. Show me faded color, fields of chamomile. All at once in a dream, we are together. You could call it a vision or a tether. All at once I can see it put back together. You could call it a vision or a tether. Take me to the jungle.
Another part of the house that I absolutely love decorating is the banister outside of our bedroom. I did this last year and I had a great idea this year to, instead of doing the glowing bats, do the floating ghost lights are wrapped around it. I felt like it looked a little cleaner and it didn't have so much of a requirement of having cords on the ground. It's just that was too much of a hassle. So I did the same thing as I did last year. I wrapped the leaves around. I didn't have to use any tape. These particular types of garland that I got at Michael's have like a clasp. You can kind of like move around the ends of each other to make them hook on, and it worked perfectly. They haven't fallen off at all. The cats haven't disturbed them. All I've done is just wrapped it around, and then I took the lights that are also battery operated and wrapped that over the top of those leaves. I I personally think that it looks great. I think that this is such a small touch to give it that Hallmark feel of really like festive, homey, cozy lifestyle look without a lot of effort. And I've had these garlands for going on, let's see here, when did I get them? I would say about 3 or 4 years now, and they've held up. They've not flattened out. I haven't had a lot of the leaves fall off or like turn weird colors. They've stayed really like almost brand new, and I've had animals around them. I've cooked around them. They've not really been falling apart in any way. So I feel like it was a great investment, and I think that if it goes on to like I think if they continue to stay good quality for like 5 or even up to like 6 years, that's a good investment for the price that I got them for. They were during a sale at Michael's, I believe, or I got a coupon or something. To finish it off, I used this garland, and I honestly wasn't sure I wanted to use this garland at all. It's this felt pumpkin garland that I got on a whim a couple of years ago, and I've never really liked it in any of the displays that I've done. So I added it this year to the banister, and I honestly feel like this was the correct move. Like the way that the black and white between the pumpkins look against the banister white poles, it's just everything that I was hoping. This was another day I had to quickly clean up the kitchen before I could decorate, and I pulled out for the first time this season my Halloween Scrub Daddies. I decided to start off with a Frankenstein one because it was the most festive in my opinion. So I got that all wet, cleaned off our stove, and I went ahead and put my very sturdy pot, what is that called? A crock pot, what is it? Cast iron pot on there for display, and then did my usual ghosty that I have been putting behind our stove for the past like 3 years. It's the same old repeating decoration that I always do. Only this year I put more candles in the kitchen. I felt like this year, because I can't find for the life of me the lights that I wanted for the kitchen, that it should be more of a candle-filled lit room. So that's the direction. So that's the direction I went for. I did have to kind of like go back and forth with some of the designs, like that ghost up there I felt like was too unstable to keep up there for like permanent use, and I thought that this skeleton hand was way cuter to put up there anyway, and I moved things around in my ideas. I thought that maybe I was going to use one of my candle holders that's really large in the center of the stove, but that's just really not utilitarian. Went back on that idea, and I eventually used it in our coffee pot, in my coffee area. I feel like when you're decorating, you do have to kind of test out different areas to see what was in your head and if it was actually going to work out, or if it was just something that looked good in your head, you know? Sometimes in reality, things turn out differently. And I personally feel like this boo-to-you space with the ghost and the jack-o'-lantern look really well, and it really matches my orange and black bat kitchen towels that I have been using in my design. I think honestly, if there was anything that I would not pass up each time I decorated, it would be those hand towels.
All right, so I am now many days later at my parents' house, getting ready for a few things for the wedding, and I'm going to take this time while everyone else is doing other things to do my autumn TBR. And yeah, this video is going to be up late because we are in Ohio and I don't have the ability to edit because I forgot my hard drive. So I figured I might as well just do this at the end of the video for funsies. So I did get all of these at Barnes & Noble. And some of them are Barnes & Noble exclusives. This one particularly I got for $5 at the cafe, because if you got this particular book at the cafe, you got that price. So I got it. Yeah, so let's start with that one. Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. I don't normally read books like this, but because it is the season and it was $5, I thought I'd give it a try. It says, Lucy Kane hates pumpkin spice lattes. Starts off pretty interesting, which is a problem because A, Lucy lives in the quaint New England town of Briar Glen, where everyone loves all things autumn, and B, she's a barista at her mom's coffee shop, Cup O' Joe. And then obviously there's a love interest who is like the counter opposite of her, and they fall in love in pumpkin spice season. I like the book because look at the pages. Yeah, so I'm going to give it a go. It's probably not going to be like terribly juicy, but it was $5. So, and it was pretty. It's all shiny, you know. I mean, who could say no to this? I had to get it. Another Barnes & Noble exclusive that I got that was also kind of an impulse buy is Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. This, I've already kind of skimmed a few pages, and it does give me the feels of being in Halloween Town and being in The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is taking place after the movie. This is after Jack and Sally have been like married, I guess, and a whirlwind romance. Sorry, that pounding is my son playing. He's hitting his heels against the floor. And yeah, she stumbles upon a long hidden doorway to an ancient realm called Dream Town. And I guess it's kind of like exploring the other doors that could be out in the forest. And I don't know, it sounded interesting. And because the writing really does kind of bring me into the feel of that movie, I think they did a pretty good job so far from what I could read. I haven't gotten very far. It was like only a couple pages in. But it's just, even like the font, it's just a nice little, it's very autumnal, very Halloween. And the pages are so cool. So, another aesthetic book that I needed to get. This one, it was $9, so I had to get it. I love ghost stories. I love lore. So, true Irish ghost stories. Who doesn't love a good Irish ghost story? On the back, it has kind of like an excerpt from one of the stories. It says, suddenly she felt 2 hands laid on her shoulder. She turned around sharply and saw it standing close beside her. She described it as being human in shape and about 4 feet high. The eyes were like 2 black holes in the face, and the whole figure seemed as if it was made of gray cotton wool. While it was accompanied by most appalling stench, such as would come from a decaying human body. I think I need to read one of these every night in October. That's the goal. Anyway, so that's why I got that. Can you stop pounding your legs? That would be great if you could stop. Now, the pièce de résistance. The reason why I wait. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I have been seeing this on everyone's TBR, and it has popped up on my feed so many times on social media. I have no idea what it was about, but it just looks so very aesthetic, you know, like look at that. And I didn't know what it was about when I went there to get it, but I knew I had to get it because everyone, when I would Google what to read in fall, this was in the top 10. I read about 2 chapters already in this, and I'm very pleased. This is the first time ever that a book that is described to be like Stars Hollow in the fall actually felt like Stars Hollow in the fall. Like, it really does have kind of like the Lorelai and Luke character outside the cafe in the quaint town kind of feel to it. I'm pleased so far. It does have like a town hall meeting. Everyone knows everyone. But on top of that, it is kind of like a reverse because she's running a cafe instead of like Luke running the cafe. Very similar feeling to Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. But I have a feeling this one's probably better quality. We'll see. I haven't read this yet. I don't know. Maybe I like this one better. Either way, this does feel like Stars Hollow. For the first time ever, when people say it feels like Stars Hollow when you read it, I have read so many books, and this is the only one that I actually feel like gives a genuine feel of Stars Hollow. And it's just so pretty. Like, on the inside, okay, like, cool. Who doesn't love just like a gorgeous pumpkin spice, pumpkin-y, delicious, shiny book? Like, I think it's great. So, these would be great if I could read them by the end of fall. But the goal is to read this one. I guess that's the whole point of me going there. I do think that this is going to be more of like a daily, maybe before I go to bed at night. These feel a little bit more like bath time books I would read like maybe every Friday when I take a bath. Just get like a few pages in. This, a story at night. So like these hardcover ones, I'm glad I got them hardcover, just sort of like the ones that like I'm be touching the most. And then these are just kind of for fun, little candy reads, like nothing too substantial like a meal. You know, that's what I mean. Like these are a meal. It's like a little treat. So those are my TBR on top of the magazines that I got as well that are gonna just be like flip through the pages for fun outside in the weather. Get some recipes and some ideas for the season. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Thanks for joining me decorating for fall. We are almost into the full swing of October and Vlogtober and everything that I'm going to be doing then. So look forward to that starting October 1st. Should be our Fort movie watching night. What we do every October 1st. So yeah, we'll see you there. Bye.
But that is everything that I have right now planned for decorating. More things will come throughout the season.
I've been wondering about you.
Especially when we do our outdoor.
They said that just one look and I'd get caught.
Other bits and pieces will show up. But
'Cause
for now,
there's
that's all I
something
have for you.
about
Look out for my next video, which will be the beginning of Vlogtober.